Guess who's back? That'd be me. And here we are, Sex and the City, Season 2, Episode 14, named The F Buddy. And let me just start off by saying I hate this episode. I blocked it from my memory from watching this series so many times before. And as I had to revisit it several times to try to get through this video that I've been procrastinating to actually do because it's not one of my favorite episodes. And partly because I'm trying to figure out what irked me so much about this episode. But back then and when it aired, and even as I rewatched it, I normally skip this one, and then now I have to do it because I'm, doing each episode season by season. So I let the last couple of days really sink in for me and try to analyze myself because, the best person to analyze you is you. I'm still trying to gauge what pissed me off so much about this, and I think it's just a combination of things. So this video is going to be a little different. I'm not going to go play by play or blow by blow. I'm just going to give you some of the highlights of what happened, which is not a lot. It's 30 minutes or less than 30 minutes, but we're not going to do the extended, showing you each scene by scene, because I like to go into the analytical part of this. To see maybe if when I let it out on video and I bring it to you guys and people and my fans and hopefully new subscribers, if you're new, thank you for coming. Welcome. And for my beautiful, wonderful, active community that actually is with me during this journey. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I had to bring some joy. And let's also start off. I'm in a bad ass mood today. Okay. Several reasons. I took a trip to CVS and it just pissed me the hell off. I'm going to go on a rant about CVS and just in general, the state of shopping in this country. I'm going to separate that. But because I was procrastinating on this video, I was able to get out 2 other videos this week. One was the rant for the new Kim Kardashian show, All's Fair. Thank you all that actually checked it out. It's different than Sex and the City. I don't know how many of I know a lot of my active viewers actually checked it out. I hope that other viewers actually came in and checked it out. I got two new subscribers because of that video. So thank you for that. I'll leave a link below if anybody wants to check it out. And the last one I did just the other day, I actually got out and touched some grass. Well, I got out and went to the movie theater. I hadn't done that in a long time. And I went to see Wicked for Good, the second part of Wicked, which I had not seen the entire time that it was out. And I decided to, do a double feature and just get it out of my system. So that one I uploaded just a couple of days ago, not even 2 days ago. It's still trying to pick up itself in the algorithm. It's different from Sex and the City. So I don't know how many of the people that are here that just want to come for the Sex and the City, didn't check it out. But if you're interested, if you've ever watched the show or the Broadway play, whatever, and you want to check out how I felt about it, I'll leave a link in the description below. All of these are going to be pinned in the comment. So I hope that you guys check it out because I do want to bring other TV shows and movies that I have been actively trying to get into, have gotten into, have done before, watched, and diversify this platform to be more than just in Sex and the City because at some point this is going to end, right? Like we've done the And Just Like That and Just Like Crap, and we're going to do Sex and the City episode by episode. So if my estimation is correct, by this time next year, I'll be completely done with Sex and the City, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be completely done with this channel. So I would like for everyone to come in and enjoy the content that I'm bringing that's diversified, not just specifically for one show. Not every show you're going to like. Not even every show I watch I like, which is why I had the 2 rants. But let's bring this together and be more active in different TVs and shows because there's some still good ones that I want to review. So that was the intro. Now let's get into the somewhat recap rant, and maybe I can figure out once I get it out of the words out of my mouth why this one was so irksome. So this is season 2, episode 14, the F Buddy. Okay. And it starts off with the opening scene. My God, he's back. Skipper. I thought we were done with this guy. Why is he here? Why they keep revitalizing this guy? This was actually written partly with Darren Star and a new guy named Merle Marco. And I don't recall ever saying his name before these 2 seasons that we've been reviewing. So this is the first time that I've seen this guy. Let's track to see how many times that he has written or co-written any of these episodes. I'm not saying that it was a different tone. I'm not saying that it was because of him, but I didn't like it. So Skipper is with Carrie in the middle of the street complaining about all the girlfriends that he has lost in the last 6 months. And then we go into the myriad of women who are trying to break up with Skipper. And there's the one that is telling him that she needs some space. It's not you, it's me. Okay. And she needs more time to be by herself, with herself. And, Skipper is fighting and saying, well, then we want the same thing. I want to spend more time with you. Then we go with the second one that is telling him almost the same thing, that she needs space, that she needs time, and she wants to be alone. Skipper is completely perplexed on what the hell is going on here. And then we lead into what happened right before the other two, which was Miranda, who broke up with him for the same reasons. It's not you, it's me. I need more time. I need more space. I want to be with me, blah, 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 blah. So we just revisited Skipper's whole entire love life. Excuse me, my apologies. And then they swing back to Carrie as they're walking. It looks like Times Square. I want to say Times Square. And he is confused on what it is that is wrong with him, because all these women break up with him and they wait until the last minute, until he gets comfortable. And then when he gets comfortable, they take out the ice pick and then they just stab him with it. So this is a combination of an F buddy and everybody trying to figure out their pattern. Okay, because each one of them has a pattern. Okay, Skipper has a pattern of getting with the wrong girl, which ironically Carrie can not really see but sympathize. Because, Carrie has a pattern too. And she's like, oh, don't worry. You're going to find the one that really, really likes you and loves you, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, girl, okay, we've tried this again with Skipper. I am going to say this is the last time that we see him. But don't quote me on this, because I thought the last time was the last time. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, balls. Okay. They're bringing him back for a reason. Maybe he needed money. I don't know. He's just so freaking boring. Okay. So now we meet we're not getting into the pattern sequence yet, but we're setting it up to where all these patterns start to develop with the girls. The next scene we have is Miranda is meeting, the angry attorney as they're coming out of a movie, and he is such an ass. The way his tone is, the way he speaks to her, he's very aggressive. And I suspect, if I'm correct, and all my OG watchers, because we're going to get to this episode, I think this is the chlamydia guy. This is the one that she calls to find out and tell him that she has chlamydia, and he says, yeah, I know. I might be wrong, but when we get to that scene in that episode, we will all remember this, because I remember this guy. I remember this angry tone. So the whole purpose of this is that he is very aggressive, and she claims she doesn't like the way that he pushes her around in public. But as he takes her back to her place, he tells her what to do during intimate relations. Put your hands up on your air, open your legs. And she is just enthralled by the fact that he's taking control of her, and she's loving every minute of it. Okay. Let's start off with, I am not too surprised, and I've said this before, people who, just my opinion, that want to have so much control in their active life, but in their personal life, they like to be controlled. So does this surprise me that Miranda finds this guy intriguing? No, not at all. I can tell you that for me, I would have flipped it and I would have told him what to do, because I don't like that. Just putting it out there. Don't care who says whatever it is. I don't like it. This is why I didn't like 50 Shades of Stupid. That whole movie thing. And let me know if you guys want me to do a review on that. disaster of a book, movie. I have opinions. We can work on that. We can. Okay. It's just not my thing. Okay. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. It's just not my thing. So as you know, we are now greeted with the walking and park talk. The girls are all together in the park. I want to say this looks like Bryant Park. I'm not too sure, but it looks like it's Bryant Park. They're having a picnic in the park, and and Miranda's discussing the fact that she can't believe that she is so shocked that she doesn't like to be told what to do in her professional life, but in her personal life, she is so turned on by this guy. Really? Are you not sure? She should be. I don't know. And she's trying to figure out why. And, Samantha's beautiful rendition of this is, well, maybe you should just sleep with him and not deal with him outside of, the boudoir. And she's like, that's not going to be a healthy relationship. I'm like, Miranda, did you think this was going to be a relationship to begin with? Let's start with that. So now we're starting to understand who has the what pattern. Okay. So Samantha has a pattern where, she doesn't commit to anybody. And in, Carrie's words, well, being random in math is also a pattern because I would think that she would know that. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that. Don't come at me. We've known Carrie for a while now. Miranda tells Charlotte that she has a pattern as well. And Charlotte is completely, what's my pattern? Ugh, I hate the way she acts in this damn episode. In general, I just don't like the way she acts. But in this specific episode, she pissed me off because she acts as if she is 19, 20 years old. My God, she's been with these women for how long? And she's in her mid-30s. Stop it. And she's like, well, what is it? And then Carrie's like, well, you wait for the perfect guy to ask you on the perfect date, and then you project these huge expectations on this guy, and then you get disappointed when it doesn't happen. Well, yeah, sure. We've seen that. Okay. And she seems surprised. And, she's like, well, it's a horrible pattern. I'm like, as if you didn't know that already? Even I know that. And I haven't been with you all this time. This could be part of the reason why I'm cranky about this episode. So, Samantha's suggestion is for her to spread herself around. Don't just date one guy at a time. Do multiple dating. Multitask. Great. And, the pattern that Carrie refuses to believe is what Samantha tells her. She says, well, you have a pattern too. And, look how much time that you spent with wasting your time with Big. And, Carrie's like, oh, well, no, that was not a pattern. That was an aberration because the next time I meet a wealthy 43-year-old guy who has, what is it called? Commitment issues. I'm not going to go for it. So first of all, you knew that he was 43 because there is an episode where she asks him how old she is. We'll get to that one because it's coming. And wealthy always has to be put in there because, if he's not wealthy, then he's not worth it. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't believe that it was a pattern that she has. No, not a pattern at all. No, Carrie. She did quit therapy, right? So Miranda Miranda tells her, well, are you going to know the next time not to do that again? So now Carrie is wondering, are we dating the same guy over and over again? Yeah, well, you are. I stopped. Yes, I did. I'm not going to say that she's not 100% wrong and not what happened because we all, for the most part, I don't know you all, and I don't know everybody around the world, but there's a reason why there's patterns created, and there's a reason why people do this, and there's a reason why there's therapists and psychologists and, books about this. That didn't really annoy me. I think that the fact that she always puts in wealthy is a very poignant point that irks me, but I was okay with that. I still don't like this episode. Okay. So as we find out probably the only one that didn't piss me off so much was Samantha because she goes back home and she is having issues with her neighbor, who apparently are having amazing relations in the boudoir that she can hear right through the wall. I don't know how. Because when I looked at the distance between her door and their door, I don't know what wall they shared, but we'll go with that because I still don't understand the size of Samantha's one bedroom shack, because I never see a kitchen. I only seen a bathroom and a bedroom. I don't know what that is. I don't know. So as she can hear them in their relations, she starts to get frustrated, and then she starts to get frustrated. So then instead of, getting upset with them, she decides to faux join them and, have a little, afternoon rendezvous with herself. Let's put it that way. We'll go with that. So Samantha's, pattern is that, she doesn't have relationships and she always has a wall between her and someone else, which this is fitting her perfect pattern. Okay. I'll let Samantha go because she's the only one that made me laugh in this entire episode. Yeah. So now we go to Carrie, and Carrie's pattern is that, after a really big major breakup, she calls where we go into her F buddy. And it happens to be this guy. The Allstate Mayhem guy, Dean Winters, I want to say. I've seen him I think he played on Special Victims SVU for a while. He's been around. He's pretty popular. Wasn't popular back then, but he's been around. So that's her F buddy. So she calls him up and says, hey. And he's like, hey, Gary. Oh my God, how annoying this guy is. And she's like, do you want to meet Saturday night? And he's like, yeah, sure. Which in code means, do you want to have relations? Because that's all when she ever calls him, which is what an F buddy is, right? We know. So, she's like, 6 shifts. And he's like, I'll be there at 6:30. Exactly at 6:30, McFadden is how he answers the phone. Shows up and she's like, hi. And he's like, hi. Could he be more doofus? And she's like, come on in. And he goes, you look great. Oh, but I have to leave at 8:30. Okay, I'm beginning to think I understand why I got a little pissed off. So I understand that he's your F buddy, and everybody has their own version of an F buddy. I get it. So he blocked out 2 hours for her because he's got to be somewhere at 8:30, and she just coyly says, oh, that's okay. I have dinner at whatever, 9. So the rules are established. You're here for this. You've got 2 hours. Make it work. She starts to open up a bottle of wine, and he starts to kiss her neck, and then they just jump right into bed. And by the way, his name is John. Mm-hmm. And as she's narrating, it's no fuss, no muss, a guy that I can completely let go of my inhibitions, and they flop into bed. The next thing you have is that they're trying to catch up on, their life journey. And she has asked him 4 questions and none of them were correct. Not his brother. I believe he has a sister. Not where they moved, with one state completely different from another. And none of the information that she thought she knew about any of his personal life was correct. And he's like, but thanks for asking. So I guess the 2 hours are up because he's getting dressed and he's leaving. And he goes, thanks for calling. You really put a cherry on my Sunday. I wanted to smack him. I was like, again, everybody has their own version of an F buddy, but oh my God. And she's like narrating, I don't know why I've been keeping this guy on the bench for so long. Why can't I date him? And then she asks him, hey, do you want to go to dinner on Friday night or Saturday night? And he's like, dinner? She's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, sure. Again, in his mind, code for you want to do this again? And she's like, how about 8:00? And he's like, how about 8:30? Because no matter what, he's in control. I want you to understand he's not a ding dong. He's not a doofus. He's trying to control this play-by-play that they're doing. Because it's never the time that she says. It's always the time. He always gives an alternate time. Got it. Great. The next thing you have is the girls are at yoga and Samantha's, reprimanding Carrie for trying to make her F buddy a human. You cannot date your F buddy. You cannot take the one person that is there purely for sex and try to humanize him and go out with him. Okay. Sure. I mean, again, I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm sure we've all had this issue. And Charlotte says, excuse me, what's an F buddy? My blood pressure just went up. I'll tell you why. Listen, we've all known that they've played Charlotte as not being the brightest bulb in the bunch. And Kristen David has played it to the extent. And whether or not it's right for the character or the actress, I'll go with that. But there is no way in hell. I don't care if you were raised in Connecticut, that you're a 33-year-old woman and you don't understand the concept of an F buddy, especially being around with the three amigas all this time. Stop it. Stop it. Ooh. She acts like a child. They write her to be like a child, and it just bothers me because, 1 minute she's hopping into bed with a rabbi, and then another minute she's hopping into bed with a movie star, and she has her own little sexual, secrets, and then now all of a sudden she doesn't understand the concept. She may not have an F buddy, but you're going to honestly tell me she doesn't understand the concept of an F buddy? Give me a break. This is where I could have been pissed off about this too. I'm looking crazy, by the way, because my trip to CVS pissed me off, so forgive me, my hair's up. So, not even the girls believe that she doesn't understand what an F buddy is. And they try to explain to her an F buddy, which is Carrie's rendition of an F buddy, is somebody that you probably dated a few times, didn't really go anywhere, but, the sex and the chemistry was so great that you keep them around, for when you want to, have sex. Again, that's her version. Everybody has a version of an F buddy. It could be you have an F buddy as well that you've known your entire childhood and life. You've connected at some point physically. And, even though you two realize that, being in a long-term relationship is not conducive for the best of you, but that connection and that history and that emotion, you keep it together and you have respect for each other and you do know each other's lives and you are in each other's lives somewhat. And, when they're in a relationship and you're in a relationship, you don't talk to them about that. But when you're both single, you reconnect but you have emotions and you know them. I'm just saying that could be a second option for an F buddy. I'm not saying that I know anything about that. Everybody has their own version. Okay. So apparently Miranda's is moved to Chicago. But before we even get to that, she's like, so I don't understand. So this guy, you call him up whenever you're, horny, and they're like, yeah. And he just comes right over. And Samantha's like, well, he's not a slave. He does have a life. But, Carrie's saying is that you're guaranteed delivery within 6 hours or less. Okay. So then, Charlotte's shocked that each one of them have their own version of an F buddy. And, Miranda says, well, mine moved to Chicago. And Carrie asks her why. And she goes, I have no idea. Because you don't need to. Because when their version of an F buddy, you don't need to have a version of what it is that an F buddy is to you. Everybody's different. Great. Empowered by some sort of this knowledge, the next thing we have is freaking Charlotte is, I didn't even see the yoga instructor. She's out getting a coffee or whatever she's doing with the yoga instructor. And she brazenly asks him, hey, do you want to have dinner Saturday night? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then the face she makes afterwards, she's like as if she just discovered a new toy. Mija, mujer, chica, bruta, pendeja, estúpida. Really? Asking someone out for a date after all this time, after everything that I've just seen you go through in the last year, 2 seasons, you're going to act as if you never have even thought about asking someone out? Oh my God, I can't. I think we're getting closer to what's pissing me off. I think it's a combination of definitely Charlotte and the way they wrote her, even though it doesn't stray far from the truth. Carrie and her F buddy, Miranda, and her trying to figure out why she needs to be with a guy that controls her in bed. I'm leaning toward Charlotte. Charlotte. Okay, I got you through the first half. I'm going to try to come back and get through the second half. I have to cut it off now because I don't want to take a long time uploading these parts. I'm lengthening my... They don't, because I can, because I have a faster internet now. So, they don't. Part deux. Okay, let's get into it. We have the date now with McFadden, the F buddy of Carrie. He shows up to pick her up for the dinner that she had requested from him from the last time that she flopped into bed with him. Because, remember, the code is that we are going out to dinner, meaning that I'm going to jump on you like a monkey in a banana tree. So as she opens the door, he's surprised. He goes, "Oh, you're all dressed up." And, she goes, "Yeah." And, in her narration, she says that the truth is John's never really seen her with clothes on. That's a great way to start this conversation. So as she is saying that we can catch a cab and whatever the case may be, that we're going to go to the, and he's like, yeah. And he starts digging into her like a bear in the Alaskan tundra. And she's like, hold on, wait a minute. We got dinner reservations. And he's like, "Oh, really? Dinner?" She goes, "Yes." He goes, "No, it's only because every time that, we had dinner, it was more like," and she goes, No, I really did mean dinner." And he's like, "Oh, okay. I have reservations for a sushi restaurant." And he's like, "Oh yeah, sushi." And he starts looking at her and I'm like, she goes, "For real, Japanese food." He's like, "Oh my God." Well, if you only call him for the F sequence of your faux relationship, then what the hell did you think this guy was going to do, Carrie? So, she's embarrassed. She goes to get her coat. They're at the sushi restaurant. She's ordering a boatload of sushi. And she asks him, "Do you like eel?" And he's like, No, I don't like sushi. Ay, señor de mi vida, coño carajo, puñeta, really? One other thing you don't know about this guy? She goes, "Well, why didn't you tell me? We could have gone somewhere else." He goes, "No, it's okay. I'll order the chicken teriyaki well done." And she goes, "Oh," because he doesn't like the raw stuff. So this is going out swimmingly, for lack of a better word. So as we sit through this horrible date at a sushi restaurant that he doesn't want to eat sushi, I've eaten either or, sushi or teriyaki, doesn't really matter. He tries to sell her on international phone minutes because he works as a salesperson for an international phone minute company. Back then, that was a thing where they give you a card where you can make exceptional amount of calls if you're a customer of theirs and you get like these deals and whatever the hell. It was a thing. I remember this. And as he's narrating all the stuff to her of the deal because he got her the card, she's like, "Oh." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't really make this up. I just, I sell time." And the way he speaks is so freaking annoying. But I can, give out these minutes to my discretion because in other words, you don't do anything but sell cards. You can't put lipstick on a pig. Sorry. And she's like, "Oh, maybe I'll get, a full hour next time." He goes, "No, I don't." And he's starting to go into his sales pitch. And she's like, I was joking. He goes, "Oh, yeah." I'm like, and she is uncomfortable. And she's like, "Hey, maybe we should order sake." He goes, "Oh, yeah. Hey, waiter, sake it to me." So, and that turned her on because in order to get rid of the stench of the the horrible date, they are flopping into bed again. I can't. I just can't. I just can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. I just can't. Again, that's just me. Doesn't mean that anybody else can't. But pretty much after that, I wouldn't have gone back home with him to do anything with him. Like, yeah, dig it out. Thanks. Bye. I'll call you for my international card that you gave me, doofus. So the next scene we have is not Miranda. We have Samantha, who has now become the nightly, ritual of listening to her neighbors every single night at 11 p.m. Getting it on. And she has developed a pattern of how she's going to be the invisible participant. I can't show too much about it, but you can imagine. And as she's listening to them getting it on every night, I mean, my God, every night. And finally, as she is enjoying the time with them, they hear her as well, because these walls are so thin between them, apparently, even though she has a wood bedpost thingy. They knock on the wall, and then she returns the knock back through her bedpost thingy to acknowledge the fact that I heard you, you heard me, we heard each other, and I'm in this with you. So now this is her pattern, because she's a sex addict. Okay. The next scene we have Charlotte and the three amigas are out to brunch to meet Miranda's wonderful, boy that she's dating. And as she's explaining to them that, he is a little late and that, he's trying to make partner in this new law firm that he's in. And that takes a lot of work. And because I know a lot of lawyers, I know it's very stressful. Sorry, my back, trying to get comfortable. She believes that once he makes partner, that he's going to be a human being. I don't know who Miranda is, but apparently this is new Miranda's, belief. We'll run with it. Mm-hmm. And he shows up bitching, moaning, horrible way of speaking to her. Not speaking to her directly, just, his trip there was stressful, everything's stressful, and she's trying to introduce him to her friends, and he's like, yeah, hi. And he's like, I gotta go make a quick phone call, and he just tells the waiter, draft beer here. Doesn't say anything else but just that. Okay? Charlotte is like, well, he is nice. And Samantha's like, in a tightly wound sound way. Okay. As they're waiting for him to return, Charlotte is exclaiming that she has 2 dates. She double booked a date that evening. And everybody's shocked. They're like, oh my God. And, the yoga instructor plus another guy that couldn't cancel because he's going away. And as they're explaining this, and I might have crossed this because I think this happens before draft beer guy comes, but, I'll try to put in the visuals correctly. Samantha's shocked because she's turning into a man. And Carrie is like, oh my God. And, Carrie asks Charlotte, how are you going to do this? And she's like, well, I'm going to have a early supper with the first one and a late supper with the last one. And then she exclaims, the only thing is that I don't know how I'm going to have 2 meals in one night. And then Carrie says, and just like that, she's a girl again. Okay. It's beginning to be Charlotte that's pissing me off. Let's wait till the epilogue. So, the next scene we have is Charlotte is on her date with the yoga guy, going through, some stupid show that they both like. And he is exclaiming that, he's going to want his kids not to be watching television because he wants them to read. And she gets all excited. She goes, oh, really? How many kids do you want? He's like, 2, a boy and a girl. Because, that's how you order them. And she's like, perfect. And then she realizes she's late for her other date. And she pretends that she's sick, that her throat hurts, that she might be getting a little coldy. And he's like, okay, let me get the let me get the bill. And that's it. We see her leaving. And then the next scene we have Samantha, who is in her hallway asking the cleaner about her neighbors and what do they look like and who are they. Now, the door is next door. Now, I'm not going to say that that's not plausible that you don't know your neighbors. I have vehemently made it my business not to know the people in my neighbors' hoods. I see them, I wave, I say hello, but I don't want to talk to you. Okay? But I see them, I hear them, and sometimes you guys can hear them too. And this is, pretty fairly large community. So, again, I do go out and I do see people. So I found it very extremely hard to believe that in the last whatever amount of time this is that she's been sharing the boudoir experience, that she's never bumped into these people ever. They're right next door. Ever. So as she's asking the cleaning guy, and she's like, so what do they look like? And he's like, the girl's a dancer and the other one's a musician. That excited Samantha because she's visualing, hot people. And she's like, okay, thank you. That's that's how you figure out what's happening. That's your whole method, Samantha. I found that a little hard to believe for Samantha. Okay. The next thing we have is now we're coming back from the date of Charlotte and the second date that she couldn't cancel because she had the first date with the yoga guy. And as she's walking towards her apartment building, the guy is very tall, very handsome, and she's like, the Charlotte way. And he's like, can I see you again? And she's like, yes. And he leans in for the kiss in front of her building, and the yoga guy comes out, and he's like, hello, Charlotte? She's like, what are you doing here? He goes, I was dropping off soup for you because I heard you told me you were sick. Now, of course, leave it to Charlotte to find the only man in New York that she just met, that just went on a date, that's going to be nice enough to drop off chicken soup to her. Of course, because that happens all the time, said no one ever. Okay? And he's like, and the other guy's like, well, who is this guy? And the yoga guy's like, well, I'm the date that she had right before you. And they exchange these stupidities between each other. And he's like, enjoy your date. To the yoga guy. The yoga guy tells him that. And he goes, no, I don't think so. Then the second day asks the yoga guy, hey, are you going uptown? He goes, yeah. You want to share a cab? Yeah. And they walk into the sunset. Like two doofuses walking into the sunset. Less Butch Cassidy and Sundance. Has this ever happened to anybody? Ever? It must be a guy thing. If you don't really care about the person, are you going to go share a cab with the person that she had? What are you doing? Oh, I don't know what part Darren wrote, and I don't know what part this guy Merrill wrote, but whatever part it is, stupid. It's stupid. Okay. It is the night that Samantha has decided that she is going to partake physically in person with her neighbors. The musician and the dancer, as she is scantily dressed and walks over to the door to finally introduce herself to the neighbors that she should have seen already at least once in her entire time being there. They open the door and you got these two. Okay. So the narration of Carrie says that yes, she was a dancer like a billion years ago, and he was some sort of polka musician. They don't look exactly the way that she expected. Nice. Very nice. Like what the cleaner said. And Samantha tells the lady, as she says, Samantha, because she's half naked. She's like, can you keep it down, please? I'm trying to get some sleep. And she closes the door, and Samantha is crawling against the wall back into her bedroom. She broke her pattern of, not doing her due diligence. And you see her pulling her bed away from the wall. To what side of the room? I don't know. because we don't really know the size of this room. And she's doing this by herself. Oh my God, I can't. No puedo más. No puedo más. Okay? Hilarious. The next thing we have is poor Miranda is out to dinner with, crazy man, chlamydia guy. I'm going to say chlamydia guy. I have a feeling he is. And he finally made partner. So she expects him to be normal. And he is bitching and moaning about every single thing, about the service, about the champagne, about being partner. Because now that he's made partner, he's going to have to do more time with the same amount of money. He's not going to get a raise. And she's like, my God, can you not be happy for 5 minutes? Can you not be happy for 5 minutes? And I'm like, I'm just sitting there like, did you expect something different? I didn't. I've known this guy personally. They don't change. Had nothing to do with him making partner. He's just an asshole. And he's like, well, I don't know about this champagne, but I can't tell the difference between a $20 bottle and a $120 bottle. And she's like, well, look at the flowers. I love the champagne and the bread is great. And, he's like, don't piss me off. And she gets up and he's like, where are you going? She goes, don't ever call me again. Hello. This is where Miranda should have been before. So he is like, what the hell? And she starts walking away all happily and gingerly in the street. And guess who she bumps into? Because of the love of God, we cannot get rid of Skipper. She sees Skipper and she's like, hey, Skipper. And she's acting as if nothing happened between them, that she didn't break up with him and she didn't tell him that it was her, not him. And he turns around and he's like, what the hell? And he goes off on her. Good. He goes, how I been? Well, he rattles off how sucky it's been and that he is so happy that he is finally over her. I guess this is the last time we see Skipper. For the love of God, please. Please. And he starts to walk away because he's angry. And she is more excited than she was before, as Carrie narrates, because she gets turned on by angry men. Hence, chlamydia guy. And now Skipper. And she's chasing after him as he's trying to run away from her. And she's like, have you been working out? I'm like, okay. So she didn't break her pattern. She is into angry men. I don't understand Steve then. At all. I understand when he got angry with her and just like that, she didn't leave. But what? So Charlotte broke her pattern because she is never going to double book a date again. So that's that. Samantha broke her pattern of not doing her due diligence before she jumps into a situation scantily clad that she doesn't know who she's scantily cladding dressing for. Miranda is still in her pattern of, attracted to angry men. So now let's try to figure out the pattern of Carrie and, Meg Fadden, her F buddy. So she went out to dinner with him again. I don't know how. They don't explain. And they're walking towards her brownstone. And she's just rattling off how lucky she is to be living here and how beautiful it is. And yada, yada, yada. I'm like, ah. And apparently he is too, because he's not really listening to her. And she stops in front of her brownstone and, he looks at her and she looks at him and she's like, what? He's like, your tits look really great in that outfit. I'm using exactly the words that he's saying. And let me just start off by saying, I hate it when men and people refer to the chest region as tits. What are you in a porn? It's my pet peeve. You could have your own pet peeves. You could judge me all you want. I don't like it. I don't. So, she realizes at that moment that he's a doofus and that, she goes, I would invite you in. And he goes, oh, no. I'm sorry. I can't come in because I have to get up early. So at that moment, they both realize that as he kisses her goodbye, that they're never going to see each other again. Thank God. She broke her pattern. She's not going to have McFadden as her F buddy anymore. Doesn't mean that she doesn't have other F buddies, but this one is the one that she broke the pattern to be with him. And that's it. She goes up, he leaves, and they never see each other again. So that's it. That was the entire episode. Epilogue. Epilogue. I don't have to cut it off because I have faster internet now. Hey, I hate this episode. And I don't like Charlotte's portrayal, though she doesn't stray too far away, but the fact that they make her so juvenile, and so I just found out about all of this stuff is bull crap. Okay? Bull crap. I'm calling bull crap. Miranda's excessive trying to understand why she doesn't like to be controlled outside of the boudoir, and the fact that she's with this disgusting man who, by the way, doesn't change between the boudoir and in person. So I don't know why she thought that, or why they wrote it where he was going to change, because he's not. It annoyed me, though she fixed it. But then she goes to Skipper, and let's just start off. Why Skipper? I think this is the last time we see him. I get that they try to make the connection that she likes angry men. Whatever. Samantha, and I thought the whole scene was funny, but I don't buy for 5 seconds that she does not do her due diligence before she jumps into any scenario. It's not a Samantha pattern. And for the love of God, Carrie. This one, I think it didn't, because we remember when I was watched this before and Just Like That in 1999, it bothered me then, but I think this one really bothered me more because of what happens in Just Like Crap. Everything that she does in her life. She just has this horrific pattern. They write her as she just doesn't understand how to be with herself. And it's not about the F buddy thing, because again, we all can have our own patterns with men and stuff like that. That didn't get me. It's just that this guy, McFadden, was annoying. And yes, the fact that she doesn't even know anything about him other than he's a good lay, that bothered me. I can't explain it, but it did. Can you explain it? Did you feel this way too? Do you feel this way? Has this happened to you? I don't know. Maybe I'm just cranky. I know I'm cranky, but I was cranky before I watched this. So, and I've been cranky rewatching this. And it is a cross between, I want to say this Merrill guy had a play in this, because yes, there's some remnants of them and in Just Like That, Carrie. Miranda and her excessive need to be in control and then not in control. Her whole relationships in Just Like That. Charlotte and her projecting all these fantasies now with her husband and her kids, and always looking for that perfect man with the perfect answers and the perfect date and the perfect. And she doesn't know how she's going to have 2 meals in one day. It's like, oh my God. It's not cute. I don't know. It wasn't cute back then. Even though I could look at this and know how old she is then, it's still not cute there. And that's it. I don't like this one. I'm sorry if I couldn't make it too funny for you guys. This one really pissed me off. I might go into some other ones that might piss me off, because now that I'm revisiting these and I'm bringing these to you, I think there's some others that are going to put me in a bad mood. So sorry. I have to go back to center. I got to go drink some tea. I got to breathe, because I start to get really riled up, and I think it's a combination of many things. And I don't want to be like this all the time with you people, because I love you people. I love you. I love how engaging you are. I love how much you comment. I love that you watch all the way through, and I really appreciate that. Let's push this algorithm to its knees. Please comment, share, like, watch to the end, because believe it or not, it helps the algorithm completely, and it helps bring in more viewers, and it helps to bring in more perspectives when we bring in more viewers. Because listen, everybody has their own version of their lives. I do, you do, and I love to hear your stories. Jump over to my Patreon, go in there and subscribe so I can get more direct one-on-one contact with you. I am structuring my Patreon. We're going to have some fun over there as well. As soon as I can get out of this hellscape that I'm in trying to move, that is why I'm always in a green screen background. Once I move, I probably won't need to use the green screen as much, because, my walls be empty. My boxes be packed. It's a mess. And I like picking different backgrounds. I hope you guys enjoy it too. So anything you can do to bring me to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which is coming up very closely, duly appreciated. And if you have not, and if you have, and if you want, please check out my merch. Check out, it's in the pinned comments. It's holiday themed. I'm going to be changing it up for when we do get out of the new year. I'm doing more pets. I think that's the motif that I'm going to go into. Let me know what type of pets that you enjoy. And I hope that you enjoy the merch. And I will see you for episode 15. There's only 15, 16, 15, 16, 17. Wow, 4 more episodes left before the season 2 ends. And the holidays are coming. Thanksgiving is next week. So I will be back for the Thanksgiving to wish you all a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving holiday, for all those who celebrate it. And even if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, celebrate the thanks and the giving of the love that you have with your friends and your community, as I would give to you. So I want to say thank you. From here to around the world that I reach, have a beautiful, blessed day, weekend, week, holiday. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Oh, and I'm going to bring another 2 videos in, and one of them is going to be my favorite Christmas movies of all time, my top 10. So stay tuned for that for this week too. Thank you. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Mwah. See? That just put me in a good mood. I love it. Bye.